Welcome to the Retro Beats Podcast, Episode 2, presented by RetroWare TV. I'm your host, Derek Alexander. Before we get things started, here's a little rundown of how we do things here. This is not a chiptune podcast. This is not a video game music remix podcast, and this is not a video game cover bands podcast. This is an original video game music podcast, but here's really the thing to remember. There is no nostalgia required here. All that you need to enjoy the Retro Beats Podcast is a love of music and a love of video games. So let's get things started with a set of first-gen Super Nintendo games. I got a track from ActRaiser, I have a track from Legend of the Mystical Ninja, and then actually two tracks, one quick track and then a full track from Gradius 3. I don't like wasting a lot of time at the top of the show. Let's get right to the music. Gradius 3 by Konami. That was In the Wind. Before that, we had also Gradius 3, Departure from Space. Now, Departure from Space is kind of like the intro track to each stage after you beat a boss. There's a quick moment where you can shoot some dudes, hopefully get some items and get powered up if you died, and then you would move into the normal stage. So I just felt right to put those two songs together. Before that, Legend of the Mystical Ninja, Headquarters of the Otafu Army, and ActRaiser, Fillmore Act 1. You know the worst thing about ActRaiser is that is the only time that song appears in the whole game, and it's probably the best track too. And I didn't mean to have so many Konami tracks at the top of the show here, but Mystical Ninja and Gradius are so different tonally that I didn't see a problem with it. So when I was compiling the episode, this episode here, I kind of went Super Nintendo crazy. So here are 3 more Super NES tracks from F-Zero, Secret of Mana, and Earthworm Jim. We'll get to some 8-bit tracks after the break, but right now, here's White Lands 1 from F-Zero. Earthworm Jim, that song is called Level 5, and the level is called Level 5. All the other levels have names, but not Level 5. Level 5 is just Level 5. I was gonna say that's a Tommy Tallarico joint, but actually Tommy Tallarico composed the music for the second Earthworm Jim, not the first. However, Tommy Tallarico is credited for making the music on the Sega CD port of Earthworm Jim 1, so figure that out. Before that, we had Secret of Mana, Steel and Traps. One thing that game got really, really well is they were able to make a snare hit on the drum sound really, really realistic. Throughout that whole game, the snare just sounds so great. Very diverse soundtrack, too. I'm sure some of you did not think I was going to play one of the more industrial, kind of dark-sounding tracks from that game. Most of that stuff is kind of light and orchestrated and kind of upbeat and happy-sounding. Not that track. Love it. And before that, we had some F-Zero. Alright, so the show is all about appreciating 8-bit and 16-bit music, but so far I haven't played anything 8-bit, and that's going to change now. I got a chunk of quality NES tracks, and depending on your level of nerd, there might be some stuff you haven't heard. Remember, I ain't here just to play like Mario and Zelda stuff. I'm here to kind of broaden your horizons on nerdy video game music. So, I got a track from Iron Sword, aka Wizards and Warriors 2, aka the Nintendo game with Fabio on the cover. Next, I have Star Wars, which I guess would be technically A New Hope. But did you know that the Star Wars game had really good music? Yeah. And then I got a track from Codename Viper, really good song from Codename Viper. Then Double Dragon 1 and Ninja Gaiden 2. You listen to Retro Beats. Ninja Gaiden 2 by Tecmo for the NES. That was stage 3 too. Oh god, Ninja Gaiden games. There's another series I could do a whole podcast on. And I'm thinking more and more that every 5 or so episodes I should do a special themed episode. There's some really fun stuff I could do, I think. Before that, Double Dragon 1 Mission 2. Before that, Codename Viper levels 4 and 5. And good luck hearing that song in the actual game, because that game is super hard. And before that, Star Wars, aka A New Hope, and Iron Sword, Wizards and Warriors 2. What's next here? I got Area 4 from Blaster Master for the NES. Gotta have some Sunsoft in every episode, probably. We heard from Power Blade last week, and I got the theme from Area 5 coming up, followed by Sparkman stage from Mega Man 3, and then finishing off with one of my favorite games of all time, Splatterhouse 2 for the Genesis. Let's keep it going. That is both the final and first boss fight from Splatterhouse 2 by Namco for the Genesis. And that track definitely gets you pumped at the end, because that final boss fight comes at a surprise. And the music and the sound effects in Splatterhouse 2 and like everything else, so good. Man, I love that game. You know what else I love? Mega Man 3, which came before that. That was, of course, by Capcom for the NES. That was Sparkman stage. Before that, Area 5 from Power Blade, and kicking it off at the top was some Blaster Master. Now, video game music, like any other format of music, explores all colors of the emotional rainbow. So let's steer the show in a different direction, into a more somber direction. Here's a game I've been playing a lot lately, wink wink, Demon's Crest for the Super Nintendo. Demon's Crest is actually Gargoyle's Quest 3, with the first two games appearing on the original Game Boy and the NES. For some reason, they felt it necessary to rebrand the series, which may have been why that game didn't do very well, which is too bad because it's really, really good. And then I have a track from Super Castlevania 4. And hey, some Earthbound, you know? All right, let's keep this going. We're getting somber, we're getting relaxed, taking the show in a different emotional direction, which I like to do, which I think I'll always do. Keep the show kind of high energy, up tempo, and then kind of move slowly into this more relaxed stuff. All right, here's some Demon's Crest, the Sunken Aqueduct. That was Earthbound, Paula's theme. In a time before the internet, I used to have a save on my Earthbound cartridge right before you meet Paula, just so I could hear that song whenever I wanted to, because once Paula joins your party, I don't think that song ever appears again in the game. So I used to just have a save just so I could listen to that song. Again, kids, this is a time before the internet. Before that, Super Castlevania 4 by Konami, that was just the Waterfall. And that was a song that frankly, I recognized, but I never really listened to until I ripped the soundtrack. And that game has got an amazing soundtrack. And one thing I've always been kind of dodgy on is the members of Treasure used to be they were all like ex-Konami employees. And I've heard a lot of varying accounts that Super Castlevania 4, the reason why it's so different from all the other Castlevanias is most of the people that worked on that game moved on to form Treasure. But I've never been able to find conclusively a lot of information about the Treasure team. Before that, we had Demon's Crest by Capcom, the Sunken Aqueduct. Such a beautiful melody. If that song were given proper or real instrumentation, given to an actual orchestra and an actual choir, it would be a beautiful song. You would not be able to convince people, no, this was written for a video game. They'd be like, no, this is actually a score to a movie, isn't it? If you gave that to some actual musicians and some real instruments, people would not know that was written for a video game. All right, so it looks like we're nearing the end of the show here, and it looks like the show ran a little shorter than the last one. I know I could have just made this one a bit longer, but I'm trying to stick to a schedule to get these out in a timely manner. So I guess, sorry, this one's running a little shorter than the last one. And this was episode 2, so there's still some kinks to figure out. But I want to say thanks to the listeners who listened last time and left me some feedback. I'm going to end with another ending theme. This is something I plan to do with every show. This time I'm going to end with the ending theme to Guardian Legend by Compile for the NES. All right, well, I am Derek Alexander, and this has been the second episode of the Retro Beats podcast presented by Retroware TV. Thanks for listening, and next week is going to be a Halloween-themed episode. Nothing but the spookiest music, and ideally that'll be up in a week, maybe 2 weeks. It'll be out before Halloween. Again, hopefully in a timely manner. I'm rambling. I gotta get out of here, folks. Here's some Guardian Legend. Thanks for listening.